Candlepin Stars and Strikes is brought to you by the Thompson family of dealerships in Nashua, New Hampshire, and by Tri-State Megabucks and the New Hampshire Lottery, helping New Hampshire schools one ticket at a time. WNDS Sports presents Candlepin Stars and Strikes, featuring the best candlepin bowlers from all over New England. And now, in our 18th season, here's your host for Candlepin Stars and Strikes, Dick Lutsk and Mike Morin.
It is week 3 of the Tournament of Champions as we welcome you into another edition of Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. From Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, Dick Lutsk with Mike Morin. We began with 6 top bowlers, and our field is now down to 4 as week 1 saw Gary Santora defeat Tom Morgan, and last week it was Jeff Buggea, the number 4 seed, ousting 6 seed Gary Santora. Buggea, a fine young bowler.
He is. He's only 20 years old, right out of the box, a 159 game. And we're going to hear a lot from that young man, but it doesn't get easier with Joe Stella, Tommy Olsta, and Mike Morgan, possible guys in the way of him winning it all.
All right, let's meet our bowlers this afternoon as we continue with the Tournament of Champions on WNDS first. Last week's winner, our number 4 seed, he had a 428 in his win over Gary Santora last week. Jeff Buggea from Dracut, Massachusetts.
And 428 is the highest anybody's bowled this season for a triple on Stars and Strikes. Jeff's average 122, 183 high single. His high triple now is 449. He bowls and works one day a week at Pilgrim Lanes in Haverhill, Mass.
And he was just on fire last week, and he won 428 to 396 over Gary Santora. His opponent, our number 3 seed from Winthrop, Massachusetts, Joe Stella.
And he's been here before a time or two. A lot of East Boston buddies are here today with him and family members. Joey's average 125. His high single bowled it last year on his 40th birthday, 201. And a high triple 486, and of course East Boston, Central Park Lanes where Joe does his bowling.
It's the Tournament of Champions. Let's get right to it. Jeff Buggea and Joe Stella. We're coming back for this afternoon's match right after this on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Our Tournament of Champions began with 6 of the finest candlepin bowlers in the world. 2 have been eliminated. Week 1, Gary Santora defeated Tom Morgan. Week 2, Jeff Buggea defeating Gary Santora, setting up this afternoon's match with Jeff Buggea and Joe Stella, with Tom Olsta and Mike Morgan waiting in the wings. We continue this afternoon with Jeff Buggea and Joe Stella. It'll be Buggea first to bowl here at Leda Lanes. Buggea got off to a rollicking start last week. He was throwing strikes and spares and had a first string of 159.
And what could have been a triple strike to start it off. He had a strike in the first and third frames and then a wiggling 6-pin in the second frame, which could have been a 3-bagger.
And we have this week $1,250 in our triple strike jackpot, $250 in our bonus ball contest at the end of the match.
And we thought
up there.
Gary Santora was going to win it all last week. He threw a double strike and then left, I believe it was the 2 and the 4, an 8 drop. He thought he had it.
He was spending it.
He was spending it on a new driveway.
Buggea bounces that one down. A lot of action on his ball, isn't there?
Really is. He's got that clockwise rotation, goes from left to right, which is not that typical of right-handed bowlers.
And look at the wood setting up perfectly now.
It looks good. I'm not that convinced that it's that great.
I think it's pretty good, as I see from here. The wood in front, in behind the 1 pin is the questionable one. No.
Of course, he missed the object pin.
That was the key.
Always is, or usually is, unless you're a very lucky person.
Jeff Buggea, 20 years old, a sophomore at UMass Lowell. Starts out with a pair of 10s.
A very likable young man.
And now Joe Stella, 40 years old. From Winthrop, Massachusetts. Starts out with a 9-pin drop, the head pin, the only pin standing, with a piece of wood in front of it. I dare say, Michael, you could make this shot 6 out of 10 times. Spare for Joe Stella.
Thanks, pal. By the way, Joey Stella, you may remember, was in the Tournament of Champions 2 years ago. He lost to the eventual winner, Chris Bovair, who was the Tournament of Champions winner 2 years ago, 359 to 343. So Joe missed last year's Tournament of Champions. He's back again this year.
Joe bowls out of Central Park Lanes in East Boston. Been bowling for 27 years. He's a UPS courier driver out of the Somerville office. 9 box. Jeff Buggea from Dracut, Massachusetts.
He's got some very young siblings, Dick. Half-brother Joseph Morrell, 2 years old, and baby brother John Morrell, born just 5 months ago.
And a spare for Jeff Buggea in the 3rd frame. What are you doing for lunch today, Michael? How about heading over to the Grand Buffet right next door to Leda Lanes? You getting hungry about now?
I'm very hungry right now.
Right next door to Leda Lanes at 350 Amherst Street in Nashua is the Grand Buffet Restaurant and Lounge. They're open Monday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 9:30, Friday and Saturday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., and on Sunday, the all-day dinner buffet from noon to 9:30 p.m. When I say buffet, I say buffet because it is an all-you-can-eat spread of many different ethnic varieties of food and something for everyone in your family. A terrific dessert tray also is always there. So if you're in the area, if you're bowling at Leda Lanes, if you're shopping in Nashua, if you're just out for a Sunday drive, stop in at the Grand Buffet. It's right next door to Leda Lanes in Nashua, 350 Amherst Street, exit 7W if you're coming from the south on the Everett Turnpike, exit 8 if you're coming from the Manchester area, or give them a call at 881-9799. You will enjoy the Grand Buffet. Joe Stella with a spare in the 3rd frame. Watch it again.
Now that I'm on Lipitor, I can just pretty much go back as many times as I want to the buffet.
Joe Stella, back-to-back marks. It's a strike in the 4th frame.
Hope Dr. Miller didn't hear me say that.
So Joe has 3 marks in 4 frames. Jeff Buggea answers with a strike of his own. Second strike of the string for second mark of the string for Buggea.
Coach Bart Medeiros from Pilgrim Lanes of Haverhill is here. He was one of Jeff's early coaches, and I'm sure still does coach him, as you heard him give credit to Coach Medeiros last week. So he's offering as much encouragement as he can, and he'll need a lot of encouragement on this one. It's a tough spare to make.
3, 6, 9, 10 on the right. Will he get it all? Almost got them all. Put 9 in the strike.
And he's got no choice but to cap the wood. It lies directly in front of the 9-pin.
And that's what he did. Great shot. Great 10 box. When you talk about a precision shot, that was it.
It was indeed.
We'll continue to read some of your cards and letters and emails.
That ball broke pretty sharply from right to left, and it looked as though it was going to go in the 1-3 pocket, but instead it went right through the nose, leaving the 4-7-10.
Joe will be open in the 5th frame. And a 9 box, a 70 half for Joe Stella.
I have an email here, Dick, telling of an amazing feat done in the Candlepin bowling just recently. Dear,
I see it says Doug and Mike.
It says Doug and Mike. I just noticed that. A couple of weeks ago, you mentioned the St. Jean's Bowling League in Leominster as Stella rolls in with another spare. He says, well, on March 21st, one of our bowlers, Doug Gauvin, sat on a 62 half in the 3rd string. Well, that's just pretty good.
Yeah.
When he got back up, he proceeded to throw 7 strikes in a row to post a perfect second half and a final score of 212.
A perfect second half. Isn't that something?
Which is what that really is.
Wow.
Then, after many handshakes, he was coaxed to see if he could keep it going. He proceeded to throw 2 more strikes.
Unbelievable.
Is there any record as to how many strikes in a row? Thanks, Jim and Al. Well, there is no record.
Wow, Buggea backdoor gets the spare.
So that would have been unofficially 9 strikes in a row. I seriously doubt anybody's ever thrown that many in a row in Candlepin.
That's a lot of strikes.
Thank you so much. What a great letter.
Buggea works on the spare.
bowling at WNDS.com if you'd like to share your Candlepin stories with Dick and I. We won't be doing any new shows till the fall, so write anytime during the summer, and we'll get to the to your letters as we resume taping in the fall.
Buggea, will he get it? He will! Another backdoor spare for Jeff Buggea. Didn't get it the first time around, but it came rolling off the wall and wiped out the 7-pin. Joe Stella now works on a spare. Just puts 4 in the mark. Now a strong fill.
The ball broke too much last time on that lane. This time didn't break enough for him.
Going to be a 7-box for Joe. Jeff Buggea has a slight lead, and Joe Stella's up against a Buggea spare here in the 8th frame. Broke up the split with the 7-pin going down, but he still has the 3 and the 10 with no wood. Nice shot by Joe Stella. Wasn't that well done? The ball right between the 3 and the 10. The ball takes the 3 and takes the 10. Watch the ball. Does all the work. Great shot by Joe Stella.
It's what they call a fit split.
Both bowlers working on spares. Close match. 4 pins separating these two bowlers. Buggea right on the head pin. Breaks up the split with the 5-pin going down. Has got the 10-pin with a piece of wood in front.
Jeff Buggea averaging 142.6 last week. 428 triple.
Spare for Buggea, $50 in bonus money for the youngster from Dracut. He collected $225 in bonus money last week, and another $50 for having the high single, so it was actually $275 in bonus money for Buggea. Right in the pocket. Solid 4-pin. That 4-pin just blinked at everything going by it.
No wood to work on, a straight shot, and that's how the bowlers prefer it.
So another $25 in bonus money.
Well, he started last week with 159. He needs a 7-pin fill here to make it to 150 again.
6 marks in the string for Jeff Buggea, 4 of them consecutively. $75 in bonus money, and this is the fill ball right here. He will put 8 in the spare. It's a 151 for Jeff Buggea in the first string. Terrific bowling by the 20-year-older from Dracut, Massachusetts. Now Joe Stella, who has 5 marks in the string already himself, working on a spare. Puts it right in the pocket. Can't break up the split. Puts 7 in the mark.
Threw the ball a little bit harder that time. Very little break to it. Had it gone either way, he would have been in one of the pockets. Instead, he was flush right on the nose.
4, 7, 10, can't convert. He'll be open in the 9th. 118 through 9 for Joe Stella. Again, 2 full on the head pin.
Well, that's a mess, huh? The 2, 4, 6, 9, and 10, and a piece of wood right in the center of the lane.
Now, take your pick, right or left of the wood. He's going to the left of the wood, and he will, almost make the shot. 127 for Joe Stella. It'll be a 127 first string for Stella, and a 24-pin lead for Jeff Buggea over Joe Stella after 1. We continue from Leda Lanes in Nashua. It's the Tournament of Champions on Candlepin Stars and Strikes from WNDS TV. After 4 boxes, I had a 1-pin lead over Mike Morin in our annual grudge match.
Should be an easy spare for a seasoned bowler, but remember Nick is up there.
Tell them to be quiet. Should I play the wood here, Dick? Okay. Cookie, should I play the wood? Way to one on the left. No. Way to one on the left. Way to the left.
The other, and we knew what was going on. Mike just missed that spare.
Yeah.
And Michael, he's going to fall behind another pin. And we got 55 to 57 Dick Smith by 2 pins.
So there you go. After 6 boxes, a 2-pin lead over Mike Morin. 2 more boxes next week when we continue with the Tournament of Champions at Leda Lanes. When we get back to our match here, Joe Stella will begin the second string, trailing Jeff Buggea by 24 pins. It was 151 to 127. And Stella will get us started.
That bowling, by the way, was all part of some fun we had at Pilgrim Lanes back in March, a fundraiser for some youth bowling tournament kids. And speaking of which, I'd like to give just a smattering of results from the 2002 Atlantic Coast Tournament, which took place in Nova Scotia back in March, and that's what Dick and I were doing, helping to defray some of the expenses. In Division 4 girls singles, winner was Stacy Forty. By the way, is Jeff Bugea's better half, we should point out to you. In girls doubles, Division 2, the winners Courtney Caswell and Carrie Caulfield. In Division 2 girls teams, Rachel Heisler, Courtney Caswell, Allison Barassa, Carrie Caulfield, and Melissa Mahoney were first place winners. Congratulations to those ladies. And we have the boys, singles, doubles, and teams to tell you about as well here when we get a moment. There's Jeff Buggea leaving the 2, 7, and 10. 2002 Atlantic Coast Tournament, again back in March. Boys teams, there were a couple of winners, Division 1 and Division 2, representing Pilgrim Lane. So congratulations to those young men, Colby Starner, Chris Hardy, Corey Chabuz, Jordan Regan, and Nathan Demakis. In Division 2, Dan Walsh, David Godwin, John Starner, Nick Murray, and Mike Carrington, Gary Carrington's son. And there were many, many other bowlers who did well and represented the United States contingent and Pilgrim Lanes quite well, coached by Tony Marie Baldinelli. Also Bart Medeiros, Mary Wall, and a couple others. And if I forgot a few coaches' names, I apologize. Well, there's a nasty split for Jeff Buggea, facing the 4 and the 10. There's some wood, however, rolling, as you can see, out beyond the fair play line, which is roughly 24 inches in front of the head pin toward the bowler. Once it goes over that line, even though you can't see it, it does have to be checked. And will it fall into the gutter? I don't know. Ever so slowly. There it goes. Paul Willett was down there ready to remove it had it not gone into the channel. I think I saw you going through the big book of Candlepin bowling. Were you looking for something?
Yeah, it was a question that we had from a listener that I couldn't quickly find the answer. I'll find it after this string, perhaps, and relay the information.
Were you looking for the answer of who won in the grudge match? Because it's not in the book yet.
I know the answer to that one, Mike.
But you're not sharing, are you?
Not yet.
Eight-pin fill for Joey Stella, leaving the 5 and the 8. He's got a clear shot at the 5-pin. But he clipped the wood, which redirected the ball, missing the spare. Another split. 3, 7, 10. Piece of wood right next to the 10-pin and a little bit to the right of the 3-pin.
Not going to take it. And a 10 box for Joe Stella, 46 through 4. Jeff Buggea right in the pocket. The 5 and the 9. Waiting for that wood to settle. Will it straighten out? Jeff wants it to come back farther and maybe angle a little differently. It did just what he wanted it to do. perpendicular to the plate.
Still not a given, though.
Right on the red stripe. And he's got it. Spare for Buggea. His first mark of the string.
Joe Stella waiting for him. Jeff Buggea finally gets his first mark in the third frame.
And a 9-pin fill.
You got another pin coming back toward him, and that's got enough speed it's going to go right off into the left gutter this time. So it's just a single pin. However, there's some wood that's rolling right over toward the 10-pin that is not going to fall into the right gutter this time. He'll need to cap it, and if not, he'll need a deflection off the sidewall. And since it is a corner pin, he's got a pretty good chance of that happening.
He's got it. We'll go to the break with Jeff Buggea working on a couple of marks and a chance for some bonus money when we come back to Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. The Tournament of Champions continues on WNDS TV. Joe Stella steps to lane 34 at Leda Lanes in Nashua. Buries it right in the pocket. The 4-pin is still standing.
And he's hoping the wood will come back, line up against the lip of the lane on the plate, so he's got a straight shot at it.
Nice shot for Joe. His second mark of the string.
Wife Debbie is here today. I believe that's Joe's mother as well in the audience up in the bowling area.
Joe put 6 in the mark.
Joe's a big supporter of youth bowling. He enjoys watching his kids bowl with Ed Woodside's kids at Central Park Lanes. Their team won the first half, and they're doing well as of this date in the second half. Ed Woodside been on our show a number of times.
And a 9 box for Joe. Now Jeff Buggea looks for some bonus money. He's got $75 in bonus money in the match already.
So it's the 5-pin configuration, 4 horsemen right, the 8-pin in the back. This is on the left side, still leaving the 4 horsemen. 1, 3, 6, and 10. Still ahead of Joey Stella, although Stella marks in the 5th frame. And a 10 box for Jeff Buggea. Completed frames, they're tied through 5 at 62. Jeff Buggea, to get to this match today and winning his ladder, defeated Mike Morgan 364 to 360, and there's a chance that should Jeff Buggea beat Stella and Tommy Olson next week, that he could face the guy that he beat to get here, Mike Morgan, in the Tournament of Champions finals.
Nice shot by Jeff Buggea.
So there's always little interesting scenarios that are developing, Dick, as we watch the bowlers jockey for that final position.
Joe Stella right in the pocket.
That was a good solid Brooklyn hit. Had strike written all over it. 7-pin stands.
Nice spare for Joe Stella. He tries to match Jeff Buggea mark for mark. A little solid that time, right on the nose, trying to break up the split. He was really putting some body English into that 7-pin in particular. Got wood on both sides of the lane. 6 and 10 on the right, 7 on the left. Trying to mix them up here. Will it go or will not? And a 10 box. He's at 98 through 8.
Bugea's personal highs have recently gone up considerably. New high single of 183 did that since we saw him last fall. His high triple now 449 is also a new high personal best for him also in the last couple of months. So he's still a developing bowler and has a great future ahead of him.
And a spare for Jeff Buggea. 2 marks in a row.
So he'll retake the lead now from Joe Stella. It's been kind of a back and forth thing this game. 7-pin field, 3-6-10, and there's no wood to help him. He'll go cross lane, left to right with the reversed spin.
$50 in bonus money for Jeff Buggea for 3 more spares in a row. And he's opening up some daylight in the match. Joe Stella, will he get that split to break up? Spinning pin caused more problems than he wished. Tough shot here for Joe. We'll just have to pick a pin. That'll be a 9-box. He's at 107.
Back on August, let me see, what is his birthday? August 26th, Joe bowled a 201. It was his 40th birthday, his first 200-plus game, and he did it while trying to qualify for the first taping session of Candlepin Stars and Strikes, which he did not get into. He subsequently did make it into a later ladder, but what a way to celebrate your 40th birthday with a 201 game, and he did it right here at Leda Lane.
I want to thank Mary Tufo from Walpole, Massachusetts, for her nice note. She watches every week on Saturday and Sunday, and Joe Stella finishes with a 117 in the second string. 2-string total of 244 for the veteran from Winthrop. Buggea, will it go? Will it go? The 10-pin moved, but it still stands.
And he's got great wood. It's frozen wood. Got a nice big 15-inch target to shoot at.
And another spare.
15 inches versus 3.5 or 4 inches. I'll take the 15.
Here's Buggea. Threw it past the headpin. There's that half Worcester in the spare. How many times do we see it? Pick 2 more off of it. He's at 132. And he made the 10. I don't know how, but he made the 10. An incredible 10. And a 138 second string for Jeff Buggea. And a 45-pin lead in the match as you watch that 10. As we go to the break, from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, the Tournament of Champions continues on WNDS TV's Candlepin Stars and Stripes. The bowl in the third string of this Tournament of Champions match on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Dick Lutsk with Mike Morin. Buggea leading Joe Stella by 45 pins. The winner of this match climbs up the ladder to take on number 2 seed Tom Olsta next week, and number 1 seed Mike Morgan waiting in the wings. Buggea with a 428 last week in his win over Gary Santora is at 289 after 2 strings. And he'll take a 10-box. He's making all kinds of crazy shots.
Saying whatever.
Right on the head pin again. Right between them.
We saw Joey Stella make that last match by just nicking the 3-pin on the right side, deflecting it into the 10. Just like that.
Yep.
That's how you do it.
Got a belated St. Patrick's Day card in the mail, Michael, from Mary and Nick Bartone from Canton, Massachusetts, always sending us nice greeting cards at various times of the year, and we appreciate hearing from the Bartones.
Glad they're watching the show and enjoying it with Dick and I every week. So a spare to start the third and final string for Joe Stella, who's got about a 5-mark deficit to overcome against young Jeff Buggea. That's a good way to do it with a 9 fill. Cannot miss it, though.
Victor Fugazzato of East Billerica, Massachusetts, writes that he watches the show all the time, and he likes the shots of the crowd. He likes to see the fans in the stands here at Leda Lanes. And we think they do, too. A lot of people like to see the fans in the stands. And they are great fans who come, and we have a lot of them here today for the Tournament of Champions.
We hope you'll consider coming out in the fall when we begin the brand new season of Candlepin Stars and Stripes. Sometime in September, keep an eye on this spot here. We'll let you know the first taping date. It's always a Tuesday, and we usually start about 10 in the morning.
Joe Stella with back-to-back marks, trying to climb back into the match. Buggea, tough shot here. He'll be open through the first 3 of the third string. And a 10 box for Jeff Buggea, 3 10s. Well, we had the emotional match at the outset with Gary Santora defeating Tom Morgan. Tom making a valiant effort to come back from his recent illness. And we know at the top of the ladder is Mike Morgan.
So that will be an emotional day, too, because you know that
we
brother
expect Tom will be here.
Certainly will be.
Buggea, tough shot here, but some wood to help him out. Can he spray it? Will he spray it? No, it goes right by the 7-pin. Open through 4, Jeff Buggea. 9 box, first pin left standing. Now Joe Stella really trying to climb back into the match. Another mark or 2 here would make things interesting. Now it's off. Look at this. A 1-pin pick in the spare.
Threw that ball a little bit harder than usual. The ball just never broke at all. And that nearly nullifies the 2 marks that he got at the beginning of the game.
That's going to be a 6 box for Joe Stella. That hurts.
He was on his way, Dick, to nearly cutting that margin in half. And now it's just back to, being a few pins behind.
He needs another mark. There it is. That box really hurt him. And we're going to go to the break. Joe Stella trailing Jeff Buggea with 6 boxes remaining. We're coming right back to Leda Lanes in Nashua for the conclusion of this match in our Tournament of Champions on WNDS TV's Candlepin Stars and Stripes. Jeff Buggea stands at lane 34 in Leda Lanes in Nashua. 6 boxes remaining. Buggea with a 38-pin lead. Stella will be working on a strike. Buggea threw it to the second pocket. Got a pretty good drop. Got the 1, 3, 5, and 6. No, that's not the 5. The 1, 3,
6, and 9.
6 and 9. Everything but the 1.
Dick, you just gave us a little note from our friends in Canton. Here's another one. A quick hello from the Crowley family in Canton,
Hello
Mass.
back to the Crowleys.
We are avid fans of Candlepin bowling from years of playing in the Boston area. Penny plays every Friday morning at the Norwood Sports Center with the Early Bird Bowlers, a local women's league, and currently holds the highest average of the season with a 98 per string average. She bowls with balls. Listen to this, Dick. She bowls with balls that were used for many happy years by her mother, Anna Acone. Anna had her moment of fame on television one night on Candlepins for Cash with Bob Gamere. She passed away in 1995, but was a steady bowler from Winthrop and bowled regularly at Central Park Lanes, which is where Joe Stella bowls in East Boston. Not only does Penny bowl with her mother's balls, she also wears her father's bowling shoes, estimated to be over 40 years old, but still comfortable and fitting well.
Wow.
So thank you to Dave and Penny the Crowleys from Canton for sharing a little bit of your bowling family memories with Dick and I.
And a lot of people had memorable moments on TV with Bob Gamere and Candlepin Bowling for Dialing for Dollars was called, or Bowling for Dollars.
For Cash?
Candlepins for Cash, yeah. That was a show that had a cult following back in the 70s, I think it was.
I never saw it. I didn't live here then, but I've heard so much about it. And Bob Gumere's always been a very colorful public figure.
Know him very well.
Do you?
Worked with him.
Well, there's an expensive miss for Joe Stella, who had just a single pin spare to shoot at. He's gained 16 pins back from a very large deficit, and it should have been a lot more.
Needs a mark here. Got a shot at it. They surround the 7-pin, but the 7-pin still stands.
Now there's 9 pins he would have had on that fill for the spare had he made it.
He must make this spare, and he did. To stay alive at all, Joe Stella with a mark in the 6th frame. 4 frames remaining, a 28-pin lead for Jeff Buggea, minus what Joe Stella gets on his spare. Buggea in the pocket, leaves a split, tough shot.
Dick, he's not had a mark this game, and he's giving Joe Stella every opportunity to climb back into this match.
Stella's got 4 marks, too, and he's only picked up.
Well, the 3rd frame killed him with the 1-pin fill on the stripe in the 2nd frame.
Buggea missed the spare. He'll be open again. Open through 7 boxes. And that will be a 9 box. If he is open again in this box, Joe Stella will have an opportunity to get back into the match. They threw it past the head pin, and look at this. Look at this. A 1-pin leave. He missed the head pin. He threw a terrible ball, to be honest with you, and look at what he has.
Yeah, the 1 and 2, something came from behind and took out the 1-2. The 4 still stands. Pretty unusual to see that happen.
Wood frozen to it as well, and the spare for Jeff Buggea. Big spare for Jeff Buggea in the 8th frame. Funny how things work. That was one that perhaps he didn't deserve, but he got it. Now Stella looks to put a few marks together. He'll put 8 in that spare.
His ball is mixing the pins better than it did earlier. A little extra something, a little extra zip.
And another spare for Joe Stella. He's looking for some bonus money, and he's looking to narrow the gap. A little too full on the head pin. Leaves himself a real tough shot. The wood falls off the deck. That would have helped. He'll be open in the 8th frame.
Runner-up today, it's $350 for his efforts.
109 for Joe. So Jeff Buggea leads by 13 pins plus whatever he gets on this ball with 2 frames remaining. He can just about close the door with a mark here.
But you know what? He frittered away a 43-pin lead almost down to nothing. Honestly, Joe Stella was really at his tail there.
Buggea puts 7 in the spare.
That's a good fill, but a tough spare, Dick.
His lead is back to 20 in the match. Will he get it? He will get it. And that will just about do it. Tough shot by Jeff Buggea, and he made it. He bounced the pin off the side wall. It came across and took out the 6-pin. Put 7 in the mark.
Even struggling, he's still going to shoot 110.
With a strong final 3 boxes. He'll be open. He's at 110 right now. And it's a 111.
400 even for Jeff Buggea.
Even the best of us have to settle for 111 once in a while.
Well, that's 11 pins under his 122 average. Joe Stella needs 48 pins to win.
And he certainly needs to spare here, and he will not. He'll be open, and that will just about do it. That will mathematically put an end to the match. 10 box for Joe Stella. He's at 119. 393 is the best he could do with a triple strike. And he's spread eagle +1. So Jeff Buggea will advance. He'll climb the ladder to take on second-seeded Tom Olsten next week in the semifinals of the Tournament of Champions. 7 box for Joe Stella. He finishes with a 126, a 3-string total of 370. Jeff Buggea is 400 to Joe Stella's 370. Buggea advances. We're back to meet our bowlers right after this when we continue from Leda Lanes in Nashua with Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Jeff Buggea defeats Joe Stella. The final score 400 to 370. Joe Stella is with us. Buggea got off to the fast start. It made it a little bit difficult for you to climb back.
Oh, yeah. He got off to a quick start. He's bowling good, and he got off to a quick start, and I'm trying to catch up all the time. He didn't give me a break.
Well, we've got some money for you. Here's the $350 for your effort as runner-up here in the Tournament of Champions, and you brought a good cheering section along with you here. Who'd you bring with you?
Bring my lovely wife, my son, and my mother, and some relatives of my cousin. My wife's cousins, relatives.
Nice to have a good cheering section here. Joe, congratulations to you. We'll look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
Joe Stella, our runner-up here this afternoon, losing to Jeff Buggea 400 to 370. Now Jeff Buggea will roll a ball in the bonus ball contest, $250 in the jackpot for someone at home. Let's see if we can get a winner. That's just a 3 spot. Let's see what we can do there. A 3 spot. And this is Sharon Luigi from Lynn, Massachusetts. She picked 6, not a match. So it's a consolation prize from N&R Trophies in Winchendon, Massachusetts. And Jeff Buggea and friend come to join us. Who do you have with you?
This is my little brother, Johnny Morrell. He's one of my good little luck charms for today.
Does that mean he gets some of the money? For his college
he's going to end up getting a good birthday present, let's put it that way.
He's got a great smile. I hope we can get that on camera. He's got a terrific smile there as he's with Jeff, who had a big win. You got off, which you mentioned to Joe, you got off to a fast start again.
Yeah, I needed it because I faded towards the end, and I lost a little of my concentration, but I put a couple together in the end and made a push, so.
Then at the very end, when he's coming back at you, you threw an absolutely terrible ball, and you got a great drop on it, and it sets you up for a spare at a key spot.
Yeah, I needed it. A little luck helps towards the end, and I definitely needed it.
Luck is a big factor in this game, isn't it, Michael?
It always is. And I want to talk to you just for a moment on behalf of your mother. We need you to babysit some weekend with the kids so they can go. I ran into your mother saw me up in North Conway a couple weekends ago, and I said, look, you got to stay at a really great bed and breakfast. Get Jeff to babysit. So is there any chance you could do that for your parents?
I'm going to be doing that this coming weekend, actually.
All right. There he is. Good boy.
Fits right in. So, Jeff, up the ladder you go, and you got Tom Olsten next week in the semifinals. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Thanks very much. Jeff Buggea, our winner here this afternoon. We have some bonus money for you, too, Jeff, by the way. It was $150 in bonus money and $50 for having the high string, $200 in total in bonus money for Jeff Buggea. Thanks very much to Jeff. Up the ladder we go.
Yeah, Tommy Olsten next week, and 2 weeks from today, Mike Morgan returns at the top of the Tournament of Champions.
And that'll do it for this week. Next week, the semifinals. After that, we will crown a champion. For Mike Morin and our entire crew, I'm Dick Lutsk. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's WNDS TV's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. And remember,